Hi everyone, my name is Tia Wilson. Before we get into my topic, I just want to give you a little bit of a background about me and why I kind of chose the topic to do today that I'm going to be telling you about. So I'm currently a senior communication major here at SUU. My emphasis is in media studies. I hope to, with that degree, become some sort of radio producer, radio host, anything to do in the radio world because I love music. And that is what my topic is today. It has to deal with music. But before we get into this specific topic, I just want to give you a little bit of my background and why I chose this specific topic. I have been interested in music my entire life. I wasn't quite talented enough or interested enough in playing music that I kind of turned to the other side of analyzing music, I guess you would say. I got very obsessed with learning about the artists and the bands and why they wrote the songs they did and kind of just random facts about the artists and just like listening to the music. And I became obsessed with seeing it live. So I have a big passion for music, especially live music. I have been to a ton of concerts over which I've seen over 200 different artists live in concert. So I think that I have kind of an idea of what it's like to play live music, even though I don't actually play it. I've seen a lot of people do it and kind of that whole thing. I am a subscriber to Apple Music and Spotify, which will come into play once my once we get into the topic. And I also have a growing record and CD collection, which also has to deal with my topic. So if you haven't guessed by now, my topic is digital versus physical music. We live in a very digital world. Everything is online. Everything is through social media. The internet is a very, very big part of our lives. But that doesn't take away from the fact that they are still old school, I guess you would call it, forms of music. So I thought it'd be interesting to take a look at the rise of digital music and the impact that it's had on physical music. So I'm kind of going to give you information on all of them and compare the two, and we'll see which one piques your interest the most. So first of all, we'll start with digital music because it is the newer form of music, obviously. With technology being on the rise the last 15 or so years, digital music is probably the main way that people like to consume music. So just a few facts about that. 35.3 million paid music subscriptions were in 2017. I am one of them, obviously, because as I mentioned before, I am subscribed to both Apple Music and Spotify. In 2016, streaming accounted for 2/3 of the music industry, which means that 2/3 of the numbers that they were getting for all of the songs, all of the streaming, all of the artist paid was coming from streaming. Also, a little fun fact about streaming. It takes an average of 220 streams for an independent artist to make $1 on a major streaming platform. So if you are an independent artist, you upload your song on Spotify. You have to have someone stream that song, so basically listen to that song 220 times before you make $1 off of it. So looking at that, it seems like it is a little bit harder for artists to make their money off of streaming, just because you have to have such a larger group of people listening to your songs constantly in order for you to make money. So those are just a few facts about digital music to kind of introduce you to the topic of what it's like to be an artist making money from streaming. So now a few facts on the other side about physical music. Vinyl sales have increased for the last 11 straight years, and they believe cassette tapes are next. So just because streaming is up and streaming accounts for the majority of music sales doesn't mean that physical music is gone. It still exists, and it's still on the rise. Radio. I know that this isn't technically physical music, but it's also not streaming because you have to tune into a certain frequency, obviously, to be able to hear the radio. But 87% of people still listen to the radio. So those of you out there that want to say that the radio is dead, it is not. I hear this a lot going into a career for radio. Why would you want to do that? Radio is dead. Radio is dying. Like, look at all this, the streaming and the podcasts and all that. But radio's not dead. A lot of people still listen to the radio. Also, just a little fun fact about music in general. Americans spend over 4 hours a day listening to music. So whether it is digital music or physical music, we listen to a lot of music, which I think is great because music is great. Another thing about physical music, this one is one that I find very interesting. So major artists have kept their music off of streaming platforms for a certain time period. For example, when Adele released her album 25, she kept it off of any streaming platform, which resulted in her selling 5 million physical copies of the album, which is a great thing for physical music. After her album had been out for a few weeks, she did decide to put it on Spotify, but originally when she released it, you could only listen to it if you downloaded it or you bought a physical CD copy of it, which is pretty great. Taylor Swift is also another major artist that kept her 1989 album off of Spotify and only used Apple Music because Apple Music is a paid-only service. Taylor Swift was very big on not putting her albums on Spotify for a long time, just because Spotify gives you the option of listening for free. You do have to listen to ads, but you can use Spotify and listen to any of their music for free. Taylor Swift was very against this just because artists aren't getting paid that way. You have to have so many streams before you get paid, so people are basically listening to your music for free, which she felt was not right to the artists and that you should be paying to be able to listen to their music. So now that we've kind of listed some facts about there, I have said kind of the pros of each side. It's up to you to go through and list the cons of each, but these are what I found to be the most beneficial things of each different type of music. So we'll start with digital music. Obviously, the first pro is it's convenient. You can listen to it anywhere, anytime, on any device, your laptop, your computer, your Kindle, whatever it is that you use, you can listen to it anywhere. You can be at home, you can be in school, you can be in an airplane, you can be literally anywhere listening to music. So obviously that is the biggest pro of digital music. Another thing that is great about this is streaming services. You can pay a monthly fee and you can listen to and save any album that you like. Instead of having to pay for each individual album, you pay one flat fee a month. You can save any album to your library. As long as you keep paying that fee every month, you get to keep those songs. You basically own them. And streaming people are usually the first to hear new albums. When a new album comes out, whatever day it is that it comes out, it usually comes onto the streaming platforms right at midnight. If you want to listen to that as soon as it's released, a lot of the times streaming is going to be the first way that you can listen to those. There are also certain songs and single releases that are only available to stream and download. When an artist releases just one single song, there's not really a way that you can buy a physical copy of that one single song. For example, one of my favorite artists, Halsey, recently put out a single, Without Me. The only way that you can listen to that is through Apple Music or Spotify. There's not a physical copy of you buying that CD. And lastly, you can import any physical CDs that you have into your music library, which makes them digital. Then you can listen to them anywhere that you like. So now on the other side, we're going to do some pros of physical music, which is my favorite form of music, just because of this pro and that it's fun. Recently, artists have been putting out exclusive albums. For example, there have been several artists release exclusive CDs through Target that not only have exclusive cover art, but also have exclusive posters or songs on the album. I have a couple examples here for you. One of my favorite bands, 5 Seconds of Summer, has done this with all of their albums. So I have 2 of their albums to show you just for example. Their sophomore release album, Sounds Good, Feels Good. If you buy the album from Walmart or off their web store or whatever it is, it looks like this. And it has 17 songs on there. But if you buy it from Target, you can get different covers with the different band members. I don't know if you can tell, but the faces on these are different faces. This face is one of the band members. You could buy different band members. And this also has 19 songs on it rather than 17. The same thing that they did with their most recent album release, Youngblood. If you buy it from their web store, I have a signed copy, but if you buy it from their web store or whatever, this is the cover that it looks like, and these are the song tracks. And then if you buy it from Target, You can buy different band member covers, and it also has 2 extra bonus tracks on it. So that is kind of a pro to physical music, is because had you just downloaded these albums off of iTunes or stream them on Spotify, they don't have those available extra copy songs on there, which is kind of fun. Another fun thing is vinyl. I am a big vinyl collector, if you can't tell by these records behind me. But vinyl is a lot of fun. You have so many different artists that release vinyl. You can buy old vinyl, you can buy new vinyl. You kind of have different sizes of vinyl. There's so many variety of things that you can buy. You have underground artists releasing things on vinyl. You also have newer artists releasing things on vinyl. One of the most fun things to me is colored pressings. You have your traditional black vinyl. So for example, I will use this copy of Michael Jackson's Bad. When you pull it out of the sleeve, your record is a traditional black vinyl pressing. Most vinyl back in the day, when vinyl was popular, it was all pressed on black vinyl. But nowadays, they like to incorporate a fun aspect where you can buy different colors of vinyl. So for example, I will use one of my favorite bands, State Champs. They are a pop punk band from Albany, New York. They're kind of low-key on the rise right now. But this vinyl is on an exclusive clear blue, gray, black splatter, which is very fun. There are a lot of different albums that you can get on different colors. We will just pull a random album from out of here. So I pull out All Time Low's Future Hearts. This is also one that is on exclusive colored vinyl. So there are very many options for artists to press their albums on different colors, which becomes a fun thing for collectors to collect all the different colored pressings. There are also different sizes of vinyl. For example, this is your standard 12-inch pressing. It's a regular vinyl. There are also 7-inch pressings. A lot of people call these singles. That's what they were when vinyl was popular, was singles. But you can also buy them in old copies versus new copies. A lot of old artists you can still find singles for. I have this White Snake 7-inch pressing, which is your traditional black pressing from back in the day. But you can also have popular artists that release 7 inches. For example, you can't really read this, but this is the Purpose Singles Collection. Purpose was an album put out by Justin Bieber, but in here you have a collection of all of these different singles of his songs. Another fun thing about vinyl, I will use this Hopeless Fountain Kingdom from Halsey as an example. You can get vinyl that have etchings on the back of it. So this side doesn't actually play any music, but it has this cool little etching of a bee on there, which makes it fun to add to your collection. So obviously that is the biggest pro, is the fun of vinyl. Some of you might be wondering, where can you find vinyl? Obviously it's not super popular to a lot of people, but a lot of major stores carry vinyl. Some of the most popular places that I like to buy my vinyl are Hot Topic and Urban Outfitters. Both websites and stores have various albums by different artists that you can buy. Walmart here in Cedar City also carries vinyl. If you live in Cedar City, there is also a record store named Groovacious that is across the street from Joann's. They sell all sorts of forms of physical music. They have CDs, cassette tapes, vinyl, all sorts of things. It's a very cool store in there. And my favorite way to get vinyl is through vinyl subscriptions. I am a member of a service called Vinyl, spelled V-N-Y-L. Basically, you sign up, you pay a monthly fee. They go through your Spotify and they look at what kind of music they like. Based off of your Spotify, they send you 3 curated records per month, which kind of incorporates the digital and physical music and kind of brings them together as one. Because you're going from your Spotify and you're getting physical copies of that for your collection. So that is my personal favorite way to kind of get vinyl. So overall, I've given you a lot of different information on physical music and digital music. Obviously, there are pros and cons to each different platform, and it's up to you to decide which one you want to use the most, which one you like the most, and it's all personal preference. As a record collector, I think that you can decide which platform I enjoy personally, but that's not to say that I don't enjoy streaming music. Since I am a subscriber to Apple Music and Spotify, I do enjoy streaming services. They are very convenient, they are very nice. But I just really love the fun aspect of collecting records, collecting CDs, and just having that physical music here on hand. So you can take into consideration and decide which one you like best. I have attached a brief survey with questions concerning all of this information that I've given you and these different platforms. If you want to take it, there's just I think 5 or 6 questions about digital and physical music. That's kind of fun. We can see which one you prefer and which one piques your interest. But hopefully you enjoyed learning all about digital versus physical music, and in the future you'll take into consideration how you play your music.